So one of the things that I have is people will email me, message me, face-to-face contact me, and tell me, well, I really want you to allow me to design my own knife. You know, I have experience in using knives in the outdoors. I'm saying while you're scrolling through Amazon or trolling other people's YouTube, you do, but everybody kind of ends up doing some of the same things. Now, I know how to design a chopper, camp knife. I've used them from Alaska to Nicaragua. I know exactly how to use it, how to make it work, how to improve on it every time I do one. But what happens is people want to make this tool do too many things. It can't be a Swiss Army knife and a chopper. It has to be one or the other. So we'll just sketch for a minute. I like to make choppers that are 10, 11 inches. That's kind of the standard. But a lot of times people want, they'll want a handle. A chopper never needs a double guard. However, people usually have a double guard on it. This is the way it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4 finger grooves to make a knife that is impossible to hold for anyone. Now this is what not to do. These are no, 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 no. And then this. Now usually it's not that. Usually it's, I want a hammer on the back end of it so I can hammer. And I want a blade that's no longer than 7 inches. And I want saw teeth on it. So the blade, and they want it hollow ground a lot of times, which doesn't work for chopper. And they want this. And they want a lanyard hole. Now overall that didn't really look bad, I guess, but when you have finger grooves on a knife, then that makes where you really can't hold it. Nobody holds a knife stone fisted. You know, they don't do that. People don't stone fist a knife. You hold it like you're, and this part, dad blasted. This thing, the dreaded choil. And every time I see that, you know what that says to me? It says that the person designing the knife doesn't know how to design a handle that's comfortable enough, so they have to put this extra thing on here. Instead of making a 4 stupid finger groove handle, they make it a 5 stupid finger groove handle. And that doesn't make it more comfortable. That just gives you a perfect place for your finger to slide up on the knife and cut the heck out of yourself. Oh, and then they'll want it really thick here, like they'll want it 3/8 of an inch thick. This is not how you design a camp knife or a hunting knife. Useless, useless, more useless. The blade part from here actually isn't terrible once you take the saw teeth off. Why a guard in the back? I don't know. That makes it where you have much more limited ways that you can actually hold the knife, and it's just overall bad. So, bad knife design elements. These are bad elements on a knife design. If you want a hammer, get a hammer, carry a hammer with you. If you want a saw, there's some really light little backpacking saws that I think Open L even makes one that we have. It's super light. It weighs ounces. You could pull that. I mean, you could saw a tree down with it lightning fast. So what you do is you end up, when this knife design shows up, you end up having a knife, you can hold it one way, and it doesn't hammer good, it doesn't cut good, and it doesn't saw good, and you have a high likelihood of putting your finger here and getting part of it cut off, because that's a dumb place to hold a knife. So choils like this where your finger can fit into, all this is just amateur design stuff. I'm going to keep going on and on about it. Even worse is when they get deeper. You can say all you like about it, but if you have a knife like this, I'll bet you that you have not seriously used it, and if you did, you were probably holding it with the last 2 fingers like that to chop anything with it. Anyway, my point being, here's how you fix it. How you fix it. Fixing this knife, still fixing it. You really gotta just make a whole new knife. And then I'll go back over with a marker and show you something else. So, a nice design flow. This is going to be simple. For a chopper, not too complicated. My hand is about 4 inches wide, but we're going to make it a little bit wider. But this handle will fit about 99% of the people out there. I'm going to let this design flow right out of here, and just going to bring this. This is a straight edge, and it's going to belly out and come straight up. maybe a subtle recurve in it, maybe it's straight. Doesn't have to be either. This is a simple design. And then we're gonna come in here for our handle. That's where my central point is. I'm gonna make a straight line coming out of here, boom. But I might just give me some idea that I want something over here too. So I'm gonna do this little piece right there. And then I'm gonna do this little thing right here. See that little thing? Like if I was to draw a big circle right here, I'm just gonna put that there for now. And then I'm gonna make another arc right here. And then I'm going to start to blend all these things in. So this is a relatively simple knife. This is not complex. This isn't overly, engineered, but it's well thought out because it's been used. And then here's the grind. This would come up almost all the way. This would be a flat grind. And it could fade out. It could go all the way to the back. You could put a swedge on it. It could be 20 different things. So I'll go back with the pen and just ink it in so you can see. This is a simple design for a camp knife, a chopper that works really, really well. I might even modify it. Let's just get rid of this guard altogether. Let's just say that the way this handle rolls up in here, this is going to substitute for a guard. Subtle arcs, not extreme, enough to hook your hand in there. This is a nice subtle arc coming down. And this little kick right here, boom, that keeps it from ratcheting out of your hand when you're chopping. This line is not too extreme. This handle is dropped a little bit, but not crazy drop. Just a little arc. And then this blade is coming. Let's just make it come straight out. It's happy little knives. It's happy little knives. We don't need that guard. Our grind is going to come from here and go up. And our handle material, something we're going to get rid of here. We have no finger choil. And we have no ricasso because that's another ridiculous feature on a knife that you don't need unless it's a Quillian dagger. So you could put a lanyard here, you could put a big pin and a big pin, you could put a little pin, wherever you want to do. This is a little bit of sculpting back here because your hand is thick. So we want to make this a little bit different in this area, like a little bit sculpted in there, but essentially it's a flat ground, convex edge knife. It's not 7 inches anymore. It's probably about 9 inches or 10 inches. It could be a little bit longer, but that knife will work perfectly. If you want to choke up on a knife, this is one that Tiger Lily made. This is just a kitchen knife. It's a forging. So you never choke up on a knife by putting your finger in there. Choke up on a knife by putting your fingers right there. And then you have total control over that knife. If you do this, you have, literally, no one's using a knife this way. It's a tool. You're using like a tool. It's my belt knife. It's my Scott McGee. I think it's the Piranha. So if I want to choke up on this knife is perfectly designed. My finger can't slide up on the blade. And my pinky can support back here. So if I want to really get a serious grip, I can. But I normally hold it just like this. So now I have control over the point, over the edge. But that's an example of a great design little knife. You can enlarge this basically and have the same thing. So great knife design, basic knife design that you could take and add any little subtle thing to it to make it your own. For example, I like the raised fin, the little thing. So I could raise that up, and instead of letting it drop, I could just make it go straight or give it a little bit of an arc. Just give it a little bit of aggressiveness. Now what does that do? It looks cool. What happens if I have a knife that has a little bit of a taper to it and I grind a swedge into it? Well, I'm going to make the surface area increase, so where it's thinner, it'll be stiffer, and also make the point pointier. Not sharpened. No necessity to sharpen a knife. If this is my camp knife, I'm out in the woods with it, I might want to use it as a draw knife. So I can scrape with it, I can pull it towards me like a draw knife, I can use it like that. So I don't want to sharpen that part of the knife. And that's just very simple, basic design. Choils, finger grooves. One finger groove may be okay. I'm not opposed to one finger groove in there, but as long as it's not too deep. But what happens is when you put finger grooves and you put choils in the knife, you're limiting the way you can hold the knife. You're actually forcing someone into holding something in a way that makes it kind of useless. So there you are. I was going to go on a rant. Did I? Kind of? Maybe a little bit of a rant?